This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. It's Tuesday, which means we're doing a top 5 list, and today it's all about this thing. Or more precisely, people who use one of these. I'm talking, of course, about slide guitar players. This is a list of my 5 favourite slide guitar players. And I say that quite emphatically. These are my 5 favourite slide guitar players. Like all of these lists, this is personal to me. There will possibly be 1 or 2 names that you think should be on any list of the greatest slide guitar players ever that will be missing from this list today. Ry Cooder, for example. No list of the greatest slide guitar players would be complete without mentioning Ry Cooder. So there, I've mentioned him. What can I tell you? I can't deny his genius on the instrument and his influence and his impact, and all of the plaudits and all of the accolades that he gets are truly deserved. Well, what can I tell you? His music just doesn't flip my coin, and that is what this list is all about. These are the 5 slide guitar players who, give me the goosebumps and, kind of give me that internal fizz that, great music does when it affects you in that way. So let's get started straight away with
George Harrison.
Yes, indeed. George, he had, I should say, an immediately identifiable touch. You could listen to one note of George's slide guitar playing and know that you were listening to George Harrison. And that goes right the way back to his early forays into slide in the kind of latter part of, the Beatles era. A song like For You Blue by the Beatles. I think it's John Lennon, you can hear kind of commenting on that track. Elmore James has got nothing on this guy, and he was beginning to kind of forge his own sound and his own style, and then that style is often thought of as being a very clean, pure, kind of almost hi-fi, crystalline kind of tone that he gets. But take a listen to Give Me Some Truth by John Lennon, where George guests on that, and he's got quite a bit of dirt on his tone in that, but it's still identifiably George. The other thing I like about George's slide guitar playing is he often combines it with another one of my favourite techniques, which is harmony guitar. He'll often double track a slide part and put a harmony on, which for me just is an absolutely wonderful sound. I'm a big Beatles fan and I'm a big slide guitar fan, so there was no way that a member of the Beatles who is, a slide guitar player or was a slide guitar player could not be on the list. So there he is right at the top, George Harrison. Let's see who's next.
Duane Allman.
Duane Allman, of course, he has to be on this list because I'm a big fan of the Allman Brothers Band. The Live at the Fillmore is one of my favourite live albums. I always say one of, because at times it will be my favourite live album, and then maybe Alchemy by Dire Straits will be my favourite live album, and then maybe Frampton Comes Alive will be my favourite live album, and then maybe Live and Dangerous by Thin Lizzy will be my favourite live album. But, these things kind of, they ebb and flow, and, Live at the Fillmore is always there, at the top of any kind of list of favourite live albums. It's just take a listen to that album. It goes beyond slide guitar for me. Duane was, in much the same way as Guthrie Govan is, and Rick Beato was talking about Guthrie, he can improvise effortlessly over any kind of backing and never ever seem to run out of ideas. It just flows out of him. Well, this is very much the case with, or was the case with, Duane. You never got the sense that he was, kind of running out of steam. There was always one more squeeze of toothpaste in the tube, wasn't there? I first discovered Duane's playing when I discovered Eric Clapton's Layla album when I was, an adolescent, and just starting to get into blues and stuff. And obviously the title track with, Duane's majestic slide playing on that long outro. But then again, you've got, Have You Ever Loved a Woman, and you've got that fantastic jam, Key to the Highway, where it's just Eric and Duane, trading licks over a brilliantly played slow blues. Something that I don't think was even intended to be on the album, because it fades in, and by all accounts, Tom Dowd, the producer, just realised what was going on in the studio and started the tape rolling, and we have to capture this, and thank heavens he did. What can I tell you? Duane Allman, he's the benchmark against which I think many people, including me, judge all other slide guitar players, so that's why he definitely had to be on the list. Next.
Sonny Landreth.
A recent discovery for me is Mr. Landreth. I say recent. I first discovered him in 1988 when he was, I think, on the cover of Guitar Player magazine, 88 or 87 back then, and there may even have been those little pull-out flexi-disc records. There may even have been a track by him on one of those in that issue. But here's the thing, this was the late 80s, and, the music you were able to get your hands on was, kind of sometimes a bit sparse. If your only access to music was, your local branch of W.H. Smith or Woolworths, as was the case for me, then, if it's in the top 40, then you can probably buy it. But some niche Americana country blues slide guitar player that even many guitar players back then weren't that aware of. His music wasn't readily available, is what I'm saying. And life moves on, and you kind of forget things. And then just recently, in the last year or so, maybe actually about the last 6 months, I've discovered him on Spotify, and I'm currently just on that kind of in that sort of early stage of a relationship with him, where you're kind of discovering all about what he's about, and there's another album there I need to check out. A bit like if like me, you're into reading, and you discover a new author, and then you realise that they've got like a whole back catalogue of books that you can go through. Well, that's kind of where I'm at with Sonny Landreth at the moment. Tracks like South of 110, The Road We're On, and This River, those are ones that stand out for me, and I keep going back to and listening to again and again and again. If you've never heard him, what he's like is, imagine if Robin Ford played slide guitar and joined the Eagles. That doesn't quite sum it up, but that kind of gives you an idea. It's sort of, or maybe with a bit of Robbie Robertson and the band thrown in as well. It's not kind of 12-bar blues after 12-bar blues, slide guitar playing in that sense, but it's all very bluesy and Americana and country rock, and his technique is just something to behold as well. He is just a true virtuoso of the instrument, but that doesn't count for anything unless the music kind of gives you those goosebumps and the fizz, and his certainly does. And I'm going to continue enjoying my journey of discovery listening to his back catalogue, so that's why he deserved a place on the list. Next.
Derek Trucks.
Indeed, Derek Trucks. Again, an artist that I discovered relatively recently in his own right, in the last couple of years, really. But I was aware of him because he's one of these guitar players who's sort of contributed to a lot of other people's albums, done a lot of collaborations. I think the first time I heard him was back on a Clapton album years ago, where he made a guest appearance there, and so I think I did a little bit of who's this Derek Trucks guy, and figure out, okay, he's in the Allman Brothers band. I wonder if he's any relation to Butch Trucks, the drum. Oh, he is. He's his nephew. And that sort of, you can tell that Derek was very, very influenced by Duane, but not in a way that he comes across as like a tribute act or a plagiarist. He's very much got his own thing going on, and it's just go and check out his work with the Allman Brothers band. An album of his that I only discovered relatively recently, once again thanks to Rick Beato, because there's a great interview that Rick does with Derek. It only came out a few weeks ago, where they talk about the Layla Revisited album. It's a fantastic album. The Tedeschi Trucks Band do the whole Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs album live. and in not a way that's like a kind of impersonation or a bad tribute act. It's a tribute, but it's very much a reinterpretation. And dear me, what a fantastic album that is! I've been listening to that one a hell of a lot lately. So I mean, Derek Trucks, worthy successor to Duane Allman in the Allman Brothers Band, and basically, I think a towering figure of the instrument in his own right. So go and check him out if you're not familiar with him. Let's see who's last.
Chris Rea.
I am a proud Middlesbrough lad, and I couldn't do a list like this without mentioning a fellow Middlesbrough chap, Mr. Chris Rea. If your only knowledge of Chris Rea is the kind of slightly schmaltzy ballads like Fool If You Think It's Over, or that perennial of Christmas playlists, Driving Home for Christmas, then you really do need to go and check out some of his grittier, bluesier sort of stuff that he did. A whole box set of blues albums a few years ago, basically charting the history of the blues. Loads of great slide guitar playing on that, but a few standout tracks. Well, Road to Hell, the title track of his 1989 album. If I'm honest, I think that album is a bit patchy. There's probably 3 or 4 great tracks on it, but the rest of it is just, it doesn't kind of, it was an album that came out on CD when I first bought it, and I used to use the skip button a lot, but the title track has one of the most searing, soulful, and fairly accessible and easy to play slide guitar solos on it. It's not about virtuosity with Chris. It's all about, playing solos that serve the song. And again, going back to George Harrison, giving you that immediate sort of sense that you know who you're listening to. Other tracks, Rock and Roll Tonight from the Santo Spirito Blues album. Great slide work on that. Real kind of foot-tapping, rocking kind of piece of music, that. And then even going back to that best of album that like when artists do a kind of compilation best of, but they re-record all the tracks. He did one of those in the late 80s called New Light Through Old Windows, and there's a track on there called Working On It, which I have a very soft spot for because it was a hit single at the time, and I was in a band that was playing top 40 stuff, so I lobbied to have that song in the set, and I think that possibly might have been the first time I ever got up on my hind legs in front of an audience and played slide on stage. So yeah, that's a great track as well, Working On It. But big fan of Chris Rea, his grittier, more kind of bluesy sort of stuff, and I think he's a very, very underrated slide guitarist, so I had to mention him as well because he comes from the same part of the world as me. So there you go. Those are my 5 favourite slide guitar players. Let me know what yours are down in the comments. Let me know if there's anybody that you think I should have included on the list but didn't. But as I said, this is a list that is subjective and personal to me. It's not meant to be any kind of definitive league table of who the greatest exponents of slide guitar are. These are just my choices, so let me know what yours are down in the comments. And that is pretty much the video for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not give me a like while you're at it. Don't forget, as always, the live stream every Friday, 5 p.m. UK time. We drink beer, we talk music, we talk guitars. Great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.